And we're live. Hey kids, what a happy Monday we've all got here. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here in Houston, Texas. About 90 degrees. It's bing bong, 2 minutes past the big hour of 2 o'clock. Anyway, so welcome to the Mike Meyers Ask Me Anything. The function of this forum is to provide those of us who are studying for CompTIA exams and beyond that, the opportunity to work together, to be able to study. I know a lot of us, especially if you're self-isolating right now, it can be a real challenge to have some study. So this is an opportunity to ask Mike anything on any topic you want. Now keep in mind, today we're going to be talking about Firefox and Mike's add-ons for Firefox security and why he loves them, but that doesn't mean you can't. Go ahead and feel free to talk about anything you want within the CompTIA range. Probably want to stay away from religion and politics, but other than that, I'm okay. Also, just because you guys were kind enough to show up, we are giving away 60% off. Yeah, for those guys who have been here before, it's 50. Now it's up to 60% off of our practicing questions and simulations. But in order to take advantage of that, you have to use this code. And I'm assuming Scott Jernigan has that code. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can pull it up real quick. The code this week is MMLive427. So just got to go to hub.totalsem.com and buy the stuff that you want to get. Remember, this is either going to be practice questions or simulations. Use the code MMLive427 and you get 60% off. Stick around, guys. In a few more weeks, it'll be 70 probably or something. I don't know. Kathy Yale's, her prices are insane. Okay, so anyway, before we dive into all the fun kind of stuff that I want to deal with in terms of Firefox, let's take a look and see if we have any questions. Look at all these crazy people. Jack Fleming. Hello, Jack Fleming. Dando Finky. Jimmy, why you do this to me, Jimmy? Andrew Hutz. Hey, man, did you take that 1001, dude? So I'm working with 1001. Do you have any tips? Andrew Hutz, pretty great. Pass the 1000. There you go. Okay, good for you, man. That's right. You did take that on Friday. I forgot about that. Well done, sir. Timothy Bennett, Chrome forever. Okay, sure, why not? You know, I'm going to say one thing right now about Chrome versus Firefox. For years, I found Chrome to be a vastly superior browser. The library of add-ons is outstanding, and it was very quick, which are good things. My biggest single problem about Chrome is that it is yet another part of that tentacle monster that is called Google. Just for you guys know, I have shut down my Google Homes. I've shut down location history. I've shut down my email. My Gmail account is not much longer for the world. And I'm using it really as mainly as a throwaway these days. I have locked down my Android phones to the maximum of my ability using non-standard email addresses and instead use things like Proton Mail. I'm using browsers on my phones that are, super high security browsers. So I'm not against Chrome per se. I think it's a pretty good browser. I just don't like to be around Big Brother Google anymore. And I'm disconnecting very, very quickly from that world simply because, well, too many scary things started to happen in my life. Or I'm sitting around in the house and, intentionally talking about something weird in casual conversation, not just the old okay Google. Sorry. That word. Mm-hmm. And I started getting ads for things that were just kind of appearing. And so it's making me pretty nervous. My Nest thermostats, which are owned by Google, are they send a tremendous amount of information back home, and I'm not sure I like that. My cameras I do pretty good on simply because I refuse to use cloud-based cameras. All of my cameras are pretty much locked down even though I had a couple problems with them. Yeah, it's bad when your cameras end up on the common vulnerability database, but they did. So yeah, a bit of a challenge. So the bottom line is, I'm not against Chrome. I am against Google these days because they give me the heebie-jeebies. And I'm big into security, and Firefox gives me all the toys I want to make me feel very, very secure. How's that for an answer? See if anyone's got any questions for starters. Everybody's going to wait to talk about some toys here, huh? Entando Finky. Am I pronounced? Tell me how to pronounce your name right, dude. I hate to make a fool out of myself. And so actually what I'm going to be doing for Home Assistant is there actually are assistants now that are not tied into one of the big brothers, and I'm actually doing some research now to look into using something like that. I had Home Assistant to the point in my house where it was borderline getting weird because, you know, it was da-da-da, what's today's weather, da-da-da, please lower the temperature in the house by 3 degrees, da-da-da. It just kept going, you know, turn off the lights in the master bedroom, reduce the lights in my office to 50%. Suddenly I started to realize that getting up and flipping a switch was a lot easier than some of the craziness I was going into. Yeah, you guys need some deals on smart light bulbs. I got a bunch that I'm just not even going to bother to use. You know, so especially if you're in Houston, I'm serious. I got like 8, maybe even 12 of the Philips smart bulbs, LED smart bulbs, and I'm not ever going to screw them into anything. So you got to find a home for those things. How's the sewer line? The sewer line is done. Thank goodness. So not only is the sewer line done and beautiful, and everything's been reburied and landscaped for the most part, looks pretty good. But I never told you guys a funny story. As part of the landscaping deal, as they're digging these huge 3x3 foot holes underneath my home, they see this gas pipe. Well, they saw a pipe, and I told them it was a gas pipe, and they're like, okay, what's this gas pipe for? And what it was back in the old days, it was used for like natural gas grills. So it ran to the back of the house, and then it ran to the front of the house underneath the slab. And somebody, I don't know who, thought that they could use that as a primary supply to the big gas range on their island. And the plumber's basically looking at this and he goes, okay, so let me understand. So when this galvanized pipe starts to leak, and it will, it's just going to saturate into the dirt underneath your house and keep building up until it finds an ignition source, right? Mr. Meyers, you ever heard of an LGB bomb and what exactly that does? And I was like, why don't you go ahead and fix that too? Because, yeah, it was a little scary. And yeah, there's more. There's still work going on. Audrey O'Shea's here. Hey, Audrey. My favorite New York. She's a native New Yorker. Roscoe's Basilisk. Steve G, I'm not going to repeat that, but trust me, something like that did kind of happen. Okay. Dr. Quinn, what do you think about Edge on the Google engine? If that's even a thing. Edge is fine. It's just not on my radar. I'm either going to be doing a Chrome or a Firefox. Chrome and Firefox are my Intel and AMD, you know what I mean? So that tends to be the stuff that I watch for. Jack Fleming, can we take the CompTIA exams yet? Yes, you can do online exams. Steve, watch the channel right here because Scott Jernigan's going to give you a link to get all the information for taking the CompTIA exams online. Dude, we've been talking about this all week. You just got here. We've been having fun without you. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, there's Thoughts on Brave? I thought it was a wonderful movie, and who doesn't like a redheaded female protagonist, right? Brave was a great movie. That's about how much I know about Brave. All right, so let's go ahead and start talking about Firefox and why. I think I've almost already explained why I like Firefox. I like the security that Firefox provides. I don't have the creepy Big Brother feel that Google slaps all over everything. And they have had an attitude of privacy, in my opinion, from day one. They haven't always been great at it, but they do pretty good. Instead of saying why I like Firefox, I think I should say about why people often don't like it. And Firefox has been notorious for decades for being a memory hog. And I can't fight that issue. I can't fight that debate. It is a memory hog. And when you're a guy like me who thinks that 32 gigabytes is a minimum amount of RAM to put in a laptop, it's not as big of an issue for me as it would be for other folks. My only real counter to that is anybody who's been playing with Chrome lately, fire up Resource Manager and you'll see he uses a ton of memory as well. And in fact, I've done a couple of practices where I would do open Chrome, open Firefox, and open the exact same websites, and Chrome was using more memory than Firefox. So I'm going to challenge you on that a little bit in terms of that's a reason to not like Firefox. You ask so much out of a web browser today, if you really think about it. I mean, it's really a platform for some type of application anymore, right? And to be able to do all that it's a big job. All righty, so. All right, so anyway, Firefox is a great tool, and the problem is there's a lot of evil out there, and that's really where I want to start on that. There is a lot of evil. Okay, so question is, where's the evil? Well, first of all, advertisements. You got to be careful. Am I saying advertisements are evil in and of themselves? No. I mean, we need advertisements. We put ads on total seminars. But the idea behind advertisements is to make advertisements not noxious, not pop up, and to do what we can to make the proper balance between doing the ads that keeps websites running versus becoming obnoxious. And I'll tell you, the temptation is pretty tough. Even at Total Seminars, we tried a few things that I got to be honest with you, I was not happy in my soul about, but they made us more money. I mean, so it became a real temptation, and especially with the pop-ups. So are they evil? I don't know. They can be obnoxious. I tend to use a lot of, certainly use pop-up blockers, and today pop-up blockers are pretty much built in to all browsers. I don't even need an add-on for that, but definitely I use ad blockers. Cookies. All right. Well, as you guys can, I'm looking over here, but the reality is that screen that you guys see right here is over here for me. So sorry about that. All right. So I think we're all comfortable conceptually with what a cookie is. I mean, so there's a little bit of text that an individual web server can place on a browser. And the original idea behind cookies is a very, very good thing. And shopping carts and some degree of personalization and things like that, where there really wasn't bad. And but cookies over time started to, and I'm not talking about intentionally evil cookies. I'm not talking about cross-site scripting or things like that, which would actually be handled more by anti-malware than by add-ons. But I got to be careful with that because some of the add-ons do that as well. But what does bother me a little bit is we start running into, like, for example, tracking cookies that can end up tracking a lot more than, being able to say, hi, Mike, last time you were here, or based on your previous shopping. Those are things I can understand. But you have other ones which will go and grab data and do a lot of evil stuff with it. And what really makes it bad is when you have third-party tracking tools. And these third-party tracking tools can really push the borderline of what is good and what is evil. And you really got to think about this a lot and what it means and does for you. So the question is well, is this evil? So what I did is I pulled some verbiage off of, this is actually Ziff Davis, which it's a publishing company that I just, by coincidence, happened to be checking out, and they're talking about what their website policies are. And let's just take a look at this guy here and get an idea of some of the stuff we're talking about. So what are they going to be looking for? Essential cookies or necessary cookies? So those kind of cookies, I don't mind those at all. Those are going to be cookies that are going to do stuff that examples say, shopping carts or things like that. Fine. Okay, I understand why those are out there. Functional cookies. So a lot of the functional cookies they help because they'll know what kind of browser you have and stuff like that. So it just helps them bring out a screen faster for you next time you show up. They're okay. Analytical cookies allow people to get some idea of, how many people in Texas are clicking on this and what time of day and things like that. You're not gaining anything by helping them out, but you're probably not being hurt with analytical cookies. Behavioral advertising cookies, and these are the classic, hey Mike, and based on your friend, that kind of stuff. And they are a real problem. They do a lot more than just ads. They affect your entire browsing experience, even if you go to other web pages. These are often tied in together with third analytics advertising parties, and I really don't like them. And you know where these are even worse is on your phone. Anybody, if you think about what I do for a living, I go to a lot of my competitors' websites a lot. I always want to see what books are out there, what videos, who's doing question banks or whatever. And if you were to look at my phone on any advertised page, it's a walking advertisement of not only my competitors' web pages, which I would expect based on my experience, but also things that I'm not real happy to be seeing in there. And for example, one of the things I get is I can buy Windows 10 for $10. I can't believe that that's legal, and I'm not going to do it. But why is there a mental tie in there? Well, if you think about it for a little bit, it makes sense, right? Somebody who's probably studying for the A+ or Net+ is probably scrambling for extra copies of Windows 10 for VMs and stuff like that, or maybe they got physical machines they're building up. So that's a bit of a question mark for me. So anyway. Then third-party cookies, we already covered those. Now, I know you guys are probably having a hard time reading this, but take a look here down underneath me here. So third parties such as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Wow, okay? Not good. And so that makes me very uncomfortable. And this thing keeps going, by the way. Scroll past. It's got flash cookies. I couldn't even get the whole thing. Geolocation cookies. It's none of your damn business where I live. And trust me, I can type in my zip code if necessary, but geolocation zeroes you into the house. I don't mind giving somebody my zip code. I don't want to tell them that I'm within 50 feet of this particular location. So the bottom line is that while all of this stuff individually isn't evil, collectively, I think it's very evil. I am so anti-Facebook, it's not even funny. Don't even get me started on Facebook. It just frustrates me way too much. Today in law enforcement, you guys want to get in IT security, here you go. Law enforcement, great place to be. You learn a tremendous amount. But in the law enforcement world, they don't almost never bother pulling warrants for bad guys anymore. Because most of the time, they have, tools that scrape across social media, and they know where you live and where you are and what you're doing, and if you have guns, because bad guys love to take Facebook pictures of their weapons. They know the people you're hanging out with, and they can just use publicly available sources. Today's law enforcement, I mean, they have a few of their own databases that they use internally, but for the most part, they just use public sources. And then the other thing that gets me very frustrated about people are they're like, whoa, Mike, why are you so paranoid? Because, you know, as long as you don't do anything wrong, then why would you care? Because the answer is, number one, you do stuff wrong. You do stuff wrong. You may not know it, but you do stuff wrong all the time, okay? If you ever want to get scared to death, have a friend who's a cop just either ride in a car with you or follow you around, okay? They don't have to be on duty, just in a car. And they'll sit there and say, okay, I can pull you over this, I can pull you over that, I can pull you over, you know? And so don't even try to think that you're some angel who doesn't have any problems. The second big issue when it comes to security is you might be a Boy Scout, but all you have to do is be within the grenade blast of somebody who isn't a Boy Scout. And I'm not talking about anything major. Be around for a divorce or an assault charge or anything like that that can take place. And you're going to get a knock and talk on your door because you have the audacity to have this person be your friend who happens to be getting divorced. So if I'm bringing your paranoia levels up, good, because I've witnessed this for decades, and being a little paranoid and security conscious is not necessarily the worst thing. And you'd be surprised that even hiding ads can be helpful sometimes. Okay. I'll get off. Yes, so they are all evil. Okay, so, well, first of all, we're going to have a lot of evil programs out there. I need to be careful with this, right? So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are, in my opinion, so evil that the only way to deal with them is to isolate them. So you guys, hang on. What did you guys want to talk about? I remember we had some questions. Didn't some of you guys want to talk about containers? All right, so we're going to talk about containers today and how we can put these in our browsers to isolate evil programs. The other thing is content delivery networks. A content delivery network, I wish I had more time to build these presentations up because this is going to end up being a part of one of my videos for Security Plus. Content delivery networks. Today any web page is really a application. You know, the days of the HTML begin HTML, end HTML are over. I mean, they're still there, but programs develop all that for us on the fly. So what happens is that you end up having JavaScript libraries and things like this that pretty much everybody uses for one reason or another. And what we do is we have these content delivery networks, which is just nothing but big servers that instead of everybody having to keep a copy of all of this different JavaScript stuff so that you can make balls bounce around the screen or whatever standard thing people might want to do, you can download from these CDNs. Nothing wrong with that. They tend to be very fast, which is a good thing. But the other thing about CDNs is that a lot of times you don't have to download that stuff because you've already got a local copy. And wouldn't it be nice if we had a program that could separate that and tell us, no, do not go to Big Brother. Just grab this local copy of this Java script thing and go with it. All right, so you kind of get the idea with that? That's what a CDN is all about. All right, so what I want to do today is I want to talk about Firefox security features and their add-ons. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the built-in stuff. So number one, they've got enhanced tracking protection. Let's go ahead and just take a look at that real quick. All right, so let's go to some nice website. There we go, good old Total Seminars. Nice, pretty safe website, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so what I want to do here is, if you look right here, you're going to see that it's there's a little shield, and I'm going to click on this, and this is the enhanced tracking protection that is built in to Firefox, all right? So third-party cookies and tracking content. So Yeah, well, I've got a link to YouTube on here because, well, by golly, we're linking to our shows here. And they caught that. Tracking content, what do we have? Google Analytics, good old double click, pretty standard stuff, but it's blocked on here. All right. Now, the one thing that's interesting that social media trackers, which you're not going to find on our site, but fingerprinters and crypto miners, those are interesting to me. So when I'm looking at this enhanced tracking protection that came with Firefox, I was like, fingerprinters and crypto miners. And basically, if you were to ask me what these things are, they're malware. And I would think that any anti-malware tool would catch one of these things being loaded onto your browser, and either you suddenly find yourself mining Bitcoin for somebody, or fingerprinting tool to try to, get some information about you through your browser. The funny part is I couldn't easily find a real-world example of those. So it is a feature, but to me it's going to be the third-party tools, which is where this does such a great job, and I'm going to have the most confidence in. Okay. I've got way too many windows open. All right, so let's take a look. Next is going to be Firefox Lockwise. Firefox Lockwise is not that big of a deal, but it's cool. Basically, it's their version of password control. Anybody who uses Google, for example, is probably real familiar with that tool set. But with Firefox, they have an equivalent tool. I actually find it a lot more powerful because it will not only keep a username and password for a site, it'll keep a history. So if you change things, sorry, one of these days I'm going to get sleep again. I tell you, the worst thing about self-isolation is my sleep cycles are screwed up. But it'll keep a history, which can often be a lifesaver for somebody like me who changes passwords a lot. So I find that to be a wonderful, wonderful tool. Next is Firefox Monitor. This tool's actually already bailed me out once. Firefox Monitor just simply monitors email addresses that you want it to watch. And if it catches a compromise on any of these, well, bloop, it'll let you know about it. That's all it does. It's caught a couple for me. That I got some pretty scary sounding emails, and I was like, oh, and then we found out there was a hack, and then, yeah, so. So those are the big three tools. But what I really want to talk about, what's interesting to me, are all of the add-ons that I can use. Now, the one thing I want to warn you guys is that I'm going to show you a number of add-ons here. And as you read about these, you're going to notice that, Mike, it sounds like they're kind of overlapping a little bit. And they are. To some extent, these guys will overlap. One might block a cookie where another one erases a cookie. There might be 3 different ones in there that look for third-party cookies. What I will tell you is this. I have had good success running them simultaneously. When I do have a problem on a single web page, it tends to be a disastrous problem where I end up literally shutting off all of the add-ons one at a time until I finally get one that when I turn off that add-on, suddenly the web page works. And then I go back and turn all the others on and it doesn't work. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're looking for convenience and comfort, do not go the Mike Meyers route of paranoia through Firefox add-ons, because you will break web pages like all the time. It's just the part and parcel that we pay for security, right? Okay. So let's take a look at my list of toys. Okay, so the third-party add-ons start off with Ad Blocker Ultimate, which is a classic ad blocker. You know what? Let's just run through these individually. I think that'll be more fun. I got to move this over so you guys can see this. There we go. Okay, much better. All All right, so as we go through this list, here is Ad Blocker Ultimate. There are a lot of really good ad blockers out there. uBlock Origin, which is probably, I know Michael Smyer's favorite, is a great one. I've used it for years and years. I've been playing with a few different ones, and to be honest, right now, the Ad Blocker Plus works pretty good. The one thing I would watch out for with this tool is that you really need to go in and take a look at what a lot of these they get paid money to automatically whitelist stuff. And, whitelisting is a good thing because, there's certain, New York Times, I like to get them money, stuff like that. And I will whitelist those sites. But if you go in fact, let's just take a look here. All right, so I'm going to go in here and see if we've got something whitelisted already. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Let me... All right, so here's what's already whitelisted on this particular one. And not surprisingly, well, actually, Houston Chronicle, I whitelisted that one. And YouTube, I whitelisted that one because I needed that stuff to work. But accounts.google.com probably had to whitelist that one too, if for no other reason than it was I'm using YouTube to do all this broadcast. So these guys do not seem to be too terrible when it comes to who are they whitelisting ahead of time. I like Ad Blocker Ultimate. There's so many out there that are great. I'm not going to tell you which one to use because they all work pretty darn good, in my opinion. All right. Next one, and this is, if you haven't played with this one's wonderful. Privacy Badger comes from the Electronic Freedom Federation, EFF, and the EFF is, like the goodest of good guys, if you ever ask me. I used to hang out with these guys at Black Hat all the time. Just a bunch of nerds who really believe in freedom of electronic media and transmission and that kind of stuff. Major contributor to these guys. Anyway, they were one of the first ones to really start checking about the idea of tracking cookies and third-party cookies. And they came up with this little toy called Privacy Badger. And let's take a look at this animal. All right, so here's Privacy Badger right here. So what Privacy Badger does is that it looks at all your different cookies that are loading up. And the more it sees cookies that seem to be sending out information they don't like, they take them from green to red. And they don't necessarily block something as much as what they do is they prevent something from phoning home. So Privacy Badger is one of these tools that you got to really you got to let it run and let it do its magic, because over time it will keep more and more stuff from phoning home, which is good in general until certain things, like for example for streaming, if I didn't have that studio.youtube.com in there, we would not be able to do what we're doing right now. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. Okay, but Privacy Badger is great. By the way, all of these add-ons are free. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, there's not really much to show you, but I'll just bring it up real quick. And this is called Facebook Container. So what I want to do here, this isn't very interesting because we don't do much Facebook on Total Seminars, but let's pick somebody who does. How about CompTIA.org? So let's fire up CompTIA.org. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. You see that little bit of purple there? Okay. Let me talk to you about what's happening even as we speak. Every time you put even like a little Facebook link on your web page, Facebook goes nuts and does all kinds of evilness it's just bad, okay? So what Facebook Container does is every time it sees anything that tries to phone home to Facebook, it containerizes it. So you guys are having a question about container? Let's talk about containers real quick. I have not looked at any questions. Okay, everybody seems to be doing good. Okay, so in order to understand a container, the best thing to do is first ask the question, what's a virtual machine? So a virtual machine is nothing more than a piece of software that acts, looks, barks, smells, tastes like the actual hardware in your computer. It cannot emulate anything. It can only recreate what you already have. If you have RAM, it can act like RAM. If you have a hard drive, it can act like hard drive. If you have a USB connection, you got a USB connection. You can't magically make a sound card appear if you don't have a sound card in there. So what you do is you virtualize the hardware of a system, and then once that's virtualized, you put it in its own little virtual machine, and then you put real operating systems, like a real copy of Windows 10, a real copy of Linux in there, and you install applications and everything else. Got the idea? So the hardware is virtualized. A container is like a virtualized operating system, okay? In that you get this little virtual operating system, and it's not even necessarily a full operating system, it's just enough to, you can throw an application into this bowl and it has enough features of the operating system so that that particular application can run. So a virtual machine is virtual hardware, a container is a virtual operating system. We do a lot of really, really important things with containers. We'll probably save containers on a big discussion for another day because there's some pretty interesting tools. We'll get Michael Smyer involved because he lives on these types of tools, and we'll talk about that. So the bottom line is that what we do with Facebook Container is whenever we see anything for Facebook, we put it in its own little container. Get the idea? And it'll be writing cookies and doing all this stuff. But the nice part is the moment we get off that page, poof, it's all gone. There's nothing. There's no trace. So whatever Facebook thought it was doing, it ain't doing nothing. It is a powerful tool, and in my opinion, an absolute requirement for anybody who believes in security on a system. Now, the other thing I do want to mention here, and that is that of all these add-ons, just because I like Firefox, you don't have to like Firefox. Most, if not all of these tools work certainly on Chrome, and probably work on a lot of other browsers as well. So just because I like Firefox, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do all of the same fun stuff on the browser of your choice. Okay. Oh, we did Facebook Container. Let's get back to the... Oops. There we go. So we did Facebook Container. So the next one I want to talk about is HTTPS Everywhere. So HTTPS Everywhere is a really important tool. Basically what HTTPS Everywhere does is that it really, really, really wants you to try to get to a website under HTTPS. So if you've got an old school website that's still HTTP, now a lot of browsers have a built-in use HTTPS kind of a thing that they work fine, but a lot of times they'll just plain old block you, which I don't like. If I'm going to an old school website that still has unprotected, I would like something to pop up and go, hey man, this is regular old school HTTP, so you want me to do it or not? Yes or no? And not going through a bunch of weird stuff. And HTTPS does a great job with this. HTTPS Everywhere does a great job with this, and I just always keep it around. It's a great little tool. All right. Next is Ghostery. Ghostery is a hoot because it's kind of takes a whole other way of looking at all this and changes it. If you were going to pick one tool and other than for ad blocking, and you're like, Mike, protect me, I'd probably tell you to go with Ghostery. It eats a good chunk of resources, but it does a really good job, and it's kind of a just install it and it works kind of a toy. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right. So this is Ghostery right here. Yeah, so let's see what Ghostery found on CompTIA. So it found some trackers, it found analytical trackers. They split it up a little bit nicer: advertising, essential, site analytics, and there's third party, I think is the other one, social media. And so they actually show you what's going on. And here's that Facebook Connect right here. That's what set off the container on this particular one. So it does a really great job of finding trackers more than anything else. And that's what it does, and it does a great job. Cookie auto delete. How many times have you got on some web page and it's like, I'm sorry, you have reached your limit of 3 articles for you to be able to read today without this, so, you know, come back tomorrow, kind of a thing. Yep, that's what cookie auto delete. It does a lot of things, but cookie auto delete just wipes out cookies. Now, you got to be careful with this. Like, for example, would you want to wipe out cookies at the end of your eBay? You can. When you come back to eBay the next day, though, you're going to probably be entering a lot of extra information beyond your username and password, so you can run into some problems on that. But in general, I will point this at websites that try to limit me because I'm not a member or something like that. It's not, actually, it's probably one of the more boring tools. Boy, look at all of the cookies it deletes from here, all right? So, I don't know. These are different places I've been to today, and you can see where it just deletes them as I leave. So, it's not terribly exciting, but man, does it gets me around a particular little problem in a very, very beautiful way. All right. And I believe the last one is going to be decentralize. Remember we were talking about those CDNs? Well, that's what centralize is all about. His only job is to clear away CDN. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not really an attack. It's forcing your browser to go grab content delivery when it has it locally, and that's really all centralized does. It's let me show that to you real quick. So on, like, for example, here when I'm on CompTIA.org, it needed some jQuery tool. I do not know how all this works because I don't have to build websites, but you just grab a local copy, and it speeds things up quite a bit, and it also prevents naughtiness from taking place. Hang on, kids. I have so many browsers open. So those are the tools that I like to use. Let me bring those back up one more time, just so you guys can get the list. In fact, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to grab my list, and I'm going to put it straight up on here for you guys to take a look at. Sorry, it's not pretty, but at least everybody's got a copy of it. There we go. Play with these a little bit. They really are fun, and it's interesting how you can really change the look and feel of your browsing experience with these types of tools. What I would recommend you do is do them one at a time. You're going to have to come up with your own feel for it and see what you like. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that there's going to be a lot of different opinions on these tools. There's no way that other people don't have some other tool, especially with the ad blockers. And that's fine. Try those as well too. But these are the ones I use, and they work. So let's take a look and see what kind of questions people have. Tor. I'm not against Tor. I think there's better VPNs out there. I mean, Tor is a reverse VPN, works pretty good. I will tell you that law enforcement laughs at them, mainly because people don't know how to use VPNs properly. And Tor has all these wonderful settings. Turn off freaking JavaScript, because that's where that's where the good guys catch you. Is that because you're coming out some weirdo outlet point on the Tor network, but the JavaScript's phone home, and it's like, no, don't do that. TS, NoScript isn't bad. I keep forgetting about NoScript. I am not against NoScript at all. I would probably use NoScript. I would take off, probably Ghostery would be the one I would take off, would be the one. Yeah, NoScript isn't bad at all. Mike, does opening a lot of tabs and affect performance? Yeah, it's going to, every tab you open up is going to take up more memory, and Firefox is always going to be a booger about that. Didn't Tor stand for the onion router? I think so. I don't remember. Homer 1075, would cookie auto delete help prevent with session hijack attacks? Honestly, probably not, because the deletion takes place when you close that tab, so it's going to be open for the rest of the time. Suman Joseph, Mike is a great trainer. Aren't I, though? And so good looking. Jack Fleming, what about a Windows VPN? Tor is good. It works fine. Open VPN. You got to be careful, because a lot of people, when we talk about VPNs, most of you guys are talking about reverse VPNs, which in a reverse VPN, you are hiding yourself from a server. Whereas a traditional VPN, the server is hiding itself from you. So when we have a VPN where I'm trying to connect into the office, that is a traditional VPN. I don't actually see the server directly because it's hidden behind a VPN. And that works fine, because we want protections for the server. That is a regular VPN. A reverse VPN means, like Tor or something like that, you want to watch some Canadian show, and because you're not in Canada, you don't get to watch it, so you want to pop out on a node in Canada to fool somebody that you're in Canada. Get the idea? Different animal altogether. Oh God, Terrence Tech. IE. I keep Internet Explorer around for that occasional weird add-on or something like that only runs in IE. Are these add-ons like Facebook Container also for Chrome? Andy de Guiert. Man, that sure sounds like a South American name. South African name. Oops. Yeah. Pretty sure. Chrome has more add-ons than Firefox does. I learned about HTTPS everywhere from watching your Security Plus training video. Yeah, it's a good tool. Why Ghostery versus NoScript? There you go. Got no. I like NoScript. They're both good. Garba Muhammad. When I permanently deleted a file like video or picture where it is going before I know when I deleted it is going to recycle bin, but when you permanently delete it, where is it going? Okay, well, what's happening is, keep in mind, when you send something to the recycle bin, it's not like you're physically moving the file. what you're doing is that in the directory listing, you can't see this, but hidden within the directory listing says, don't delete this no matter what. Whereas if you delete something permanently, really when you delete a file permanently, the only thing you're doing is you're changing the first letter of the file name from whatever it is to a lowercase sigma. That's it. It's all still there. But it's not directed to the, it doesn't get the thing that says I'm also in the recycle bin. It's a very simple thing. No files are moved when they're deleted or permanently deleted. You permanently delete a file, there are plenty of tools out there that as long as it hasn't been written back on top of, it's all still there. You usually just have to come up with a new first letter for the file name so that you don't have to, yeah, that's all you got to do. That's it. Okay, do we get a bunch of questions? Firefox ESR or regular distro? I gotta tell you, I like Firefox ESR. I have played with it. It's fun, but I'm seeing if I can pull one up here real quick. So I don't really worry about that on the desktop with the right tools, but what I will do is I will use Firefox Focus on my smartphones. I think it's a more powerful tool, a little more security. Mike, what about a commercial VPN then going through Tor? Waste of time. Well, it's a waste of time in that it's going to be so incredibly slow, Homer. A tunnel in a tunnel. I can't even imagine you doing anything actually functional. Operator error, very cute. IE tab for Chromium. You know, operator error, I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds like a handy little tool. You're in the Netherlands. Ah, outstanding. I've had some fun in the Netherlands, I'm not going to lie. Suman Joseph, can anyone, which is good to study, a Kindle edition or a hardcover? And that's really up to you. I like to mark my books up, so I'm always going to go for a hardcover. And of course, the book industry makes sure that Kindles aren't that much cheaper than a paper book. More policy-based routing. Kelvin Tran, are you telling me you want to talk about policy-based routing? We can do that. We're a little short on time today, but I could probably squeeze that in. I'd like, Kelvin, you need to ask me more of a question than that. All right. Oh, also, by the way here, guys, I always forget to do this. Here. Oh, no. I deleted my contact information. Yeah. God, I can't believe I did this. All right, hang on. There we go. Okay. Anyway, guys, make sure you have my contact information. Anything that, here, Kelvin, this is the way to do it, brother. You see, I've got 2 email addresses. You can use either one. It doesn't make any difference. The phone number right now, that is my office number, and it's not really functional. I am glad to give people my cell phone number, and I've talked to lots of you guys already here online via my cell phone, but I'm a little uncomfortable just throwing it out there. I'm a little uncomfortable just throwing it out on a public thing like this. So if you want to talk to me, if you have questions that require a little development, just send them to me via an email. And then that way I can really take some time, think about it, and make sure I've got the question in the right order. And then that way we can cover the stuff that you guys want to talk about. I mean, that's why we're here, Kelvin. My function to be here is to help you. We have some topics that we come up that tend to show up on Mondays, but in no way do you think that that's the only thing we're going to talk about on Monday. So please, guys, it's so much easier for me to really address a question if you can just send it to me via an email. Oh, more Cisco. Kelvin, there's really no Cisco on Net Plus, or certainly not Security Plus. Are you going for a CCNA or something like that, my brother? Operator error, you're going to have to hang out more. I like you, Bran. Yeah, Grown Man 284. Yeah, we tried always passing out ebooks with everything, and basically we found all of my ebooks for sale on eBay. So McGraw-Hill is not a big fan of distributing ebooks anymore because we just got robbed. It's... Oh, Kelvin, you're just dropping in for Yell More Cisco. Adrian Rules, is DesWeds a fake name? No, DesWeds is a kinetic acronym. So what I want you to do is look at your keyboard, take your left finger, and put your finger over the D. Got it? Now imagine typing ESWEDS, DesWeds. I don't even have to lift my hand off the mouse. I can go DesWeds, and we're all set. I've had that acronym now for many decades, and the nice part is whenever something new comes up, Zoom, I can be DesWeds at Zoom or whatever it might be. So, all right. Andrew Hutz, I've lost weight? No, I've started to lose weight. I've had a little bit of a stall. I work out 5 days a week now. I hired a personal trainer and I got a yoga instructor, but I kind of stalled out, drank too much wine. So I've actually hired a nutritionist. I mean, I've got to do this, guys. And it's surprisingly less expensive than you'd think. Anyway, the bottom line is if I don't pay to get this done, I'm going to be paying for a heart attack in 5 years. So I've hired a nutritionist, and the nutritionist is now actually gives me the food that I am to eat this day. And it's helped me kind of stay on track, stay away from the booze, 0 alcohol until I hit my target weight. So yeah, you're going to be seeing less of me, guys, every time you get on here. So I actually was down about 22 pounds. I'm up. I've actually gone back a little bit, but I'll be back on track here in no time. Yeah, Joe, that was really pretty big. Mikey, I quit herbs. Yeah, I just can't quit that oregano, man. I quit. Well, Steve, I'm trying to do what you're doing too, brother. Hang on. I got so many screens up that I can't look at my team screen. So. Sorry, Scott. I stopped looking at teams there for a little bit. Oh, Audrey, I am so sorry. I did not see this question. That's why Scott Jernigan was yelling at me so hard. Can you explain for my students your take on what they should look for in a CAD station versus a basic PC station or something like customer service? Okay, Audrey O'Shea, can you guys come back tomorrow? Because I can't really do that question in less than 2 minutes. There are a lot of questions on the A+ exam about what's the difference between a CAD station versus a graphics station versus a virtualization station, all that kind of stuff. And Audrey, I am so sorry I missed your question. You should see what Scott's texting me. Answer Audrey's question. Audrey, can I do it tomorrow? Is that okay? Okay, well, I'm going to gamble that Audrey's going to say, yes, Mike, it's fine. So tomorrow, one of the things we're going to be talking about first off are the weird A+ questions on the different types of systems, RAM, graphics, storage requirements, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to get it nailed in for you guys. Scott's going to remind me to talk about that. So we will cover that tomorrow. So unfortunately, it looks like we've run out of time again. Oh my gosh, it's always so fast here. I've been having fun with the streaming software a little bit. And, oh, guys, yeah, I need to be healthy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You're going to be seeing so much less of me, man. I'm going to be like this. No, TS, Teams isn't in YouTube. That's how Scott's sideband to when he's watching, when I'm just talking and he's watching everything that's going on, and like reminding me that Audrey O'Shea asked a great question that I think all of you guys, especially those of you studied A+, are going to be very interested in talking about. In fact, it's so good, we're going to save it for tomorrow. It'll be like the first thing I do at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time is we're going to be talking about how CompTIA looks at that stuff, okay? So we're going to definitely get you covered. Also, keep in remember, we got 60% off. All you have to use the code. Scott Jernigan's got that listed there for you. And until then, I'm going to have to be signing off. So this is your Uncle Mike saying good night. Good night.